At academic institutions across the country this time of year, it is tradition that people hear reflections from the valedictorians. For important reasons, that student occupies a special position at any institution where people learn. That person is the chief academic and the resident student scholar, and the right to be called such only comes with a combination of effort, curiosity, diligence, and native ability. Defined by these or by any terms, Amelia Deering is an excellent valedictorian. Both our community and the academic world outside of Elgin Academy have recognized Amelia for her focus on challenging herself and consistently mastering her goals. Even a shortened list of her accomplishments is impressive. A 4.14 GPA, School Excellence Awards in United States History and the Performing Arts, a recipient of the Dartmouth College Book Award in 11th grade, a member of the Daily Herald academic team, and a National Merit Scholarship Award winner. She is an honor thespian, an AP Scholar with distinction, and a member of the Cum Laude Society. In addition to her studies at Elgin Academy, Amelia was motivated to become fluent in German, leading to her receipt of multiple National German Exam Awards, as well as a homestay exchange visit in Germany. Additionally, she partook in 2 independent studies, one her sophomore year and one her senior year, both with a German focus. That included her senior year, during which she read and wrote about 4 major works of German literature in German. Her teachers have praised her for her inquisitive contributions, her deep understanding, and her extensive compassion for others. Her advisor, Ms. Howe, wrote in her senior year advisor letter, quote, "You continue to stand out to your teachers and peers in all aspects of life at Elgin Academy. You are a pace setter and a leader, willing to push yourself and those around you to new heights." Amelia, we are so proud of your efforts and enjoyed having you in our classes. We cannot wait to hear the ways that you bring your zeal for academics, your boundless creativity, and your innate curiosity to Dickinson College, and know that you will make that fine institution better, just as you have done for us. We cannot wait for you to come back to visit and tell us about your experiences. For now, though, we are happy that we do not have to wait any longer to hear what you will share today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our 2017 valedictorian, Amelia Deering.
When thinking about what I wanted to say today, I considered what shared experiences bring the class of 2017 together. Over the past 4 years, we've done unique and incredible things, but one activity we all have in common is watching a lot of Netflix. One show that got me through a lot this year was The Great British Baking Show. So I wanted to share with you all a little wisdom from my favorite baker on season 3. Upon winning the final bake-off, they said, "I'm never going to put boundaries on me ever again. I'm never going to say I can't do it. I'm never going to say maybe. I'm never going to say I don't think I can. I can and I will." It is often said that a person is their own worst enemy, but I want to implore you all to be your own best friend. There are many people in your life who love you and are there for you, but you are the only person who is with you 100% of the time. There may be people in the world who want to tell you you can't do something, but the only way they win is if you repeat those lies to yourself. Too often we base our self-worth on small successes and failures. We generalize our shortcomings to encompass our whole selves, turning "I don't know the unit circle" into "I will never be good at math." That's a small example, but those little put-downs add up into a negative image of ourselves that makes it harder to succeed. Self-doubt, like Netflix addiction, is the shared burden of all adolescents. But as we move into adulthood, we need to learn to talk ourselves up. Our first instinct upon making a mistake is to criticize ourselves. But the truth is that you probably did the best you could, and none of us really knows what we're doing anyway. The prospect of going to college and starting a new life is scary. After 4+ years of the same campus and people, everything changing so quickly and completely is very intimidating. As we move on from Elgin Academy, we are losing a security blanket. We won't be able to run to Mr. Rafferty's office with every question, and the friends we've come to depend on so much over so many years won't be there to hold our hands. Though each of us will certainly find new counselors and friends, when we arrive on campus, we have to be our own support systems. We have to believe in ourselves and our ability to succeed. I consider every member of the class of 2017 to be my friend, and I know all of you are capable of greatness, but my faith in you is not enough. No one can convince you that you are interesting, intelligent, or worthy of love, because faith in yourself can only come from within. Believing in yourself despite setbacks and failures is hard work, but once you are certain of your abilities, there's nothing you can't do. Though, not being British, we will probably never win the Great British Baking Show. I ask you all to take its message to heart. Whatever your dream in life, be it perfect layers in a puff pastry or curing the world of disease, always remember, you can and you will. Lastly, no valedictory speech would be complete without a little valediction, so I wanted to say some special goodbyes and thank yous to the people who have made our time at Elgin Academy so special. To call out everyone by name would take more time than we have today, but to all of our teachers, both in the upper school and beyond, thank you for getting us down the right path and supporting us in our dreams. I know our class wasn't always the easiest, but I speak for all of us when I say our teachers made us better people and got us where we are today. To all of our families, if you are anything like my parents, this is a bittersweet time for you, full of both tearful laughs and enthusiastic dorm shopping. Though you may be scared of sending your babies into the big wide world, know that you have raised fantastic, capable young adults who can handle anything. Lastly, to my graduating class, words cannot describe the love I have for all of you. The 38 of us are truly a family, and though the separation is painful, I can't wait to see the amazing things we all accomplish in this new chapter of our lives. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2017.
Good morning. What a great day and a beautiful day to graduate. We are so pleased that Roma Khanna, Elgin Academy class of 1996, has agreed to join us for this very special occasion. Ms. Khanna was a much decorated student both here at Elgin Academy and afterward. She was the co-valedictorian of her Elgin Academy class, the Mother-Daughter Award winner, a member of the National Honor Society, an Illinois State Scholar, a member of the International Thespian Society, and an inductee into the Cum Laude Society. And that is just a partial list. Her teachers remember her as motivated, able, and extremely articulate, and they all tell inspiring stories of her excellence in many, many different areas around here at Elgin Academy. She went from here to the Medill School at Northwestern University, where she earned a Bachelor's of Science degree studying both political science and journalism. She later earned a Master's of Science degree in Learning and Organizational Change, also from Northwestern University. Following her undergraduate work at Medill, she earned a highly sought-after postgraduate fellowship from the Hearst newspaper organization, where she covered a variety of topics in different newsrooms. From there, she worked for the Houston Chronicle, a large Hearst newspaper, and worked as an investigative journalist. Following her work as a reporter, she began to find her passion in the complexities of how organizations work and can effectively change to meet their goals and positively impact society as a whole. She took a position as an organizational development intern with Leo Burnett Worldwide, an advertising agency. In this position, she helped develop and administer employee surveys, create global rewards programs, and recruit and orient new staff members. This interest in organizational dynamics led her to Deloitte Consulting, where she worked with this notable agency's clients to help them deliver large-scale, transformative initiatives that better enable them to meet their clients' needs. In this capacity, she helped many, many clients ready themselves for complex change, and she herself developed a particular interest in health systems and how healthcare could be effectively delivered in this very, very complex world. Finally, her career has led her back to Northwestern University, where she is currently a director in the Office of Change Management. This office is charged with helping this world-renowned university assess opportunities for change, design approaches to make those changes, implement the changes themselves, and create a culture of impactful change across the university. Clearly, this is a remarkably accomplished person who has followed her interests and passions to fulfillment. She has sought opportunities to employ her talents to the betterment of others, and she's never stopped learning. We are so grateful to have Ms. Roma Khanna here today to share her insights gleaned from these many stops on her ever-continuing journey. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Roma Khanna to deliver today's commencement address.
you for that introduction, and greetings to everyone here. Mr. Hanford, Mr. Sept, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, parents, family, and friends, and most of all, the class of 2017. I'm excited to be here with you today, and I am humbled by the opportunity to share the celebration of this milestone in your lives. Let me start by expressing one of the most important sentiments of the day. Let me start by wishing you, the graduates, congratulations on all that you have accomplished and all that lies ahead. I had the pleasure of getting to know the class of 2017 a bit when I visited campus last month, and also feel I have gotten to know you by watching a number of your senior speeches, seeing evidence of your spirit in the bit of redecorating you guys did in Edwards Hall this week. Nice work. And learning about all that you have accomplished during your years at the Academy and where you are next headed. You are a group of people with a lot of promise and are leaving EA poised to find meaning and impact in the next phases of your lives. Enjoy this moment. When Mr. Hanford asked me to deliver these remarks, I asked him what you might want to hear, and more precisely, what I could possibly offer that would be of value. He suggested that I share a bit about the journey of the year since my own graduation, and the ways in which my life and career and interests have evolved, even as my foundational passions have remained constant. So I come to you today not with a lot of advice, not with exhortations on how you should live your life. Instead, I am here to share some observations, some notes, if you will, from a fellow hilltopper who is a bit further on down the road. I want to share a bit about the arc of the years since I completed high school, transitioning to college, and navigating the uncharted terrain that lies beyond. And I want to share a bit about what went well, what did not, and how my life has evolved ever so surprisingly in a manner I never could have predicted based on where I was on my graduation day. But I get ahead of myself. I want to start the conversation here at the Academy. 21 years ago, I sat among the group of graduates on stage. While many memories of my EA years have warped over time, I remember this day with great detail. Sitting in the auditorium, wearing a white floral dress and black patent sandals, cap, and gown, listening to speakers talk about the great education we'd received and the wonderful things we would do. One speaker devoted her remarks to celebrating the foundation and support system we would take with us. She recited a poem by Denise Levertov, The Fountain, which explores the strength and solace that can be derived from an everlasting fountain that resides within each of us. It includes the lines, "The fountain is there, among its scalloped green and gray stones. It is still there and always there, with its quiet song and strange power, to spring in us, up and out through the rocks." The speaker likened the water from this eternal fountain to an Elgin Academy education, telling the graduates that it was a fountain that would follow us throughout our lives and the decisions we make. That speaker was me. Now, as a quick aside, I will share with you that while my memories of that day are indeed vivid, recalling the details of the speech required tracking down a copy of the graduation video, which my mother dutifully had stowed in her archives, thanks Mom, and then making several attempts to find a functioning device that would actually play the video in its VHS format. Once we got to watching the footage, I was struck by many things, not the least of which were some observations on the passage of time and aging. Some of us looked a bit younger in the video, guys. The second thing that struck, chief among my reflections, was that after all these years, it still rings true. And EA education is a fountain, a foundation, a never-ending source of inspiration. The second thing that struck me was the way I was introduced that day. The then head of the upper school mentioned that I was off to Northwestern to study journalism and outlined my career aspirations. Simple and certain. Roma has known for some time she would like to be a writer. I indeed wanted to be a writer. It was an aspiration born out of a love for the written word that was fueled by teachers here, like Ms. Merrill, who exposed me to authors from Richard Brautigan to Virginia Woolf, who remain favorites today, and Mr. Hanford, who helped me envision journalism as a plausible path for pursuing writing professionally. And while my aspirations at the time were indeed simple and certain, the intervening years have been anything but linear. There have been constants, there has been that foundation, there's been a set of guiding principles to serve as a North Star through the journey, and a journey it certainly has been. Since that day in June of 1996, I have amassed a set of experiences vast and varied, walking a path that has taken me to reside in 10 cities across the country, from the Pacific Northwest to Washington, D.C., to the US-Mexico border. During that time, I worked for 3 magazines and 5 newspapers, honing my reporting skills. The path also has taken me through major career change, transitions that required resilience and a willingness to envision my life taking on shapes I never could have anticipated. And ultimately, it has brought me to a place where I can look back and see, amid the change and evolution, that which has remained constant, no matter where I lived, no matter where I worked, no matter any of the trappings of my current situation. For the first many years after my graduation from the academy, my progression indeed was simple, certain, and very much aligned to my aspirations to be a writer. I attended Northwestern, studied journalism, and ticked through the paces of being a young reporter learning the trade. I started at small publications, some in locations undesirable enough to make my parents shudder upon seeing the places where I planned to live and work. But I immersed myself, saying yes to every opportunity, as one should early in their career, and the results were rewarding. My stories had impact. My writing got noticed. The publications, locations, and assignments I got improved over time. The culmination of my journalism career came during my years as an investigative reporter for the Houston Chronicle, where I got to tackle topics ranging from local government to the impact of Hurricane Katrina on New Orleans, where I spent many weeks after the storm chronicling devastation and focusing on the unprecedented number of deaths in the city's most vulnerable residents living in nursing homes. The most rewarding story of my career was long-term coverage of errors with handling evidence in the police department crime lab. In the spring of 2003, I stood in a pack of reporters on a gritty Houston side street and watched Josiah Sutton emerge from the county jail, a free man after more than 4 years of wrongful incarceration. He was just 17 when he was convicted of an assault he did not commit, based on evidence from the police department crime lab that later was discredited. At the time, I had witnessed few moments more soul-stirring. Little did I know that Josiah was just the first of 5 men I would watch make that walk to freedom, their paths paved by new DNA evidence developed as my paper's coverage exposed the extent of problems at the crime lab. Ultimately, the coverage contributed to the exoneration of 5 men who collectively had spent 36 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. It also led to the re-examination of hundreds of cases and the passage of state legislation to set minimum standards for forensic labs with the aim of preventing the repetition of such egregious errors. It was a heady time, and I was doing exactly what I had intended. I was a communicator, a storyteller, and someone whose work had the potential to have impact on people and institutions beyond myself. And then, as things are prone to do, they changed. As my career fell into a rhythm, the industry in which I worked was undergoing a revolution. The internet had evolved the media landscape and upended the newspaper business model, leaving newsrooms around the country to scale back on jobs. I was barely 30 at the time. The rest of my career loomed large in front of me and brought into stark relief some of the personal dissatisfactions I had overlooked during the halcyon days of my reporting career. I craved more control over where I lived than newspapering could afford me. I sought a career path that looked different than any I saw in the journalists around me, and I wanted to continue my education. I found myself where I had least expected, coming to the distressing realization that I had outgrown this career, the only thing I had ever wanted to be, in the only industry where I had ever had a paying job. And with that realization came a loss of identity. I was adrift, rudderless, at times panicked. In retrospect, I now can see that what I really was at the time was free. Free to define what was next, unbound by expectations. Free, as Emily Dickinson so lyrically put it, to dwell impossibility. And so I did. I considered everything, from law school to public relations to teaching high school and many things in between. All of this freedom was a bit paralyzing. In the end, the decisions I made were based on a set of criteria. I asked myself what I liked about my career as a reporter, both the impact of the work and what I personally got from reporting. I thought about my strengths and the skills I could bring to bear in another job and looked for other contexts in which I could find those things. I thought hard, and I really encourage you to start doing this today, about what I wanted my life to look like in the short and longer term. And I checked my gut. My first next step was to do something I had long wanted to do when my journalism career was chugging along. I went back to school, knowing that graduate school would afford me the opportunity to gain new skills and develop some plans. I returned to Northwestern and completed a master's in learning and organizational change.